Hey there, friends. Welcome to Low Key Catholic. I'm Rob Maslowski, and today we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. So we're in the kitchen today for the first ever episode of Catholic Kitchen. Since it's St. Patrick's Day, I figured it was only appropriate to make a little bit of an Irish meal. And so today I'm going to make a Guinness cottage pie with colcannon instead of just mashed potatoes, and an Irish cream coffee cheesecake. Let's get started by gathering everything we'll need. To begin, we're going to start with our cheesecake, because although it's going to be a no-bake cheesecake, it's going to take a little bit of time to chill. And so we're going to make it, and then while it's chilling in the refrigerator, we're going to make our cottage pie. Now we're all crusty and ready to go, and so we're going to chill it for just a little bit while we make our filling. Alright, so our cheesecake is ready. It looks like it's going to be good. Everything I've taste tested so far does taste good. So we're going to get this in the refrigerator for a while and start on our cottage pie. Unfortunately, my camera's microphone cut out in the middle of the most important part of this video. So instead, we're doing a voiceover. So while I was at the grocery store trying to piece together everything I needed for this recipe and find things that would work from the emptied shelves of my local grocery store, I couldn't help but reflect on the importance of St. Patrick's Day. The importance that we celebrate the legacy of the saint of St. Patrick. And that's because St. Patrick has a legacy of hope and sharing that hope with others. And while I look around at the world this week and over the last few weeks, and I'm sure over the weeks to come, I can't help but feel like our world is in need of hope. Among all of the panic and anxiety around coronavirus and everything else that seems to go on in today's world, I think hope is possibly the most valuable thing that Christians have to offer. Hope in the salvation of Jesus Christ. Because that's that same hope that can help us to overcome all of the scariness of day-to-day life, no matter what it might be, whether it's coronavirus or anything else. And St. Patrick set that example for us in his evangelization of the island of Ireland. A lot of people, I think, in not only the United States but throughout the world are familiar with St. Patrick as a person of history, but don't necessarily know a lot about him. But he lived in the 4th and 5th century, and for the first 14 years of his life, he actually lived in England. That's where he was born and raised. And then he was captured by Irish pirates and enslaved in Ireland for 6 years, from when he was 14 until he was about 20. And during that time, he held on to his faith, and he held on to the hope that faith offered. And so when he returned back to England, returned back to his family, he became a priest and then was later ordained as a bishop. And as a bishop, he was asked to return to Ireland in order to evangelize the pagan people of Ireland. And he did that. And he did an incredible job of that. And I can't help but think that I'm not sure if I could do the same thing. I'm not sure that I could so willingly return to the same place that had held me captive as a slave in order to evangelize those people. But St. Patrick had hope, and he had hope not only in the salvation that Jesus has to offer, but in the mission that God gave him, and that whatever God was calling him to was something that was good, and something that was worthy of pursuing and chasing after, and stepping outside of his comfort zone, stepping out of the boat, and despite any fear or anxiety that he may have, being willing to step out in faith. And I can't help but feel like we, as 21st century Christians, have the opportunity to share that hope with people today. And most of us aren't going to be called to travel to a distant country, but we are called to love our neighbors and to share the gospel with those neighbors in whatever way is appropriate. And for every person, that's going to look a little bit different, but I can guarantee that each one of us has a person that God is calling us to proclaim his love to and to share that hope. Scripture even tells us that we should always be prepared to share the reason for our hope. And I think this week and then the next several weeks are an outstanding time to do that. And I think it's also an outstanding time to ask for St. Patrick's intercession to help us find God's grace in order to do that effectively, especially during this season of Lent, as we recognize that we live in a fallen world and that we are sinners, yet the gates of heaven have been swung wide open through Jesus' death and resurrection that we will celebrate at the end of this season. So this St. Patrick's Day, ask yourself, who is God asking you to share your hope with?
Well, there you have it. We have our Guinness cottage pie with Colcannon topping, and our Irish cream coffee cheesecake. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of The Catholic Kitchen, and I will see you next time.